Hi, I'm Steve Moneypenny, and I am here with the Practical Shooter. We're a podcast that gets everyday shooters out there to talk to other everyday shooters. I'm here today with Garland Ivy, and he is with Team Red Hill Tactical. Um, Garland, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to come in here with you.
So, first thing I want to do is just give you a little bit of time. Just tell us about yourself, what makes you tick, and whatever you want us to know.
All right, so Garland Ivy, 26 years old, been shooting just behind the gun probably for 10-ish years. USPSA maybe 3 as a paid member. Other than that, it was just strictly outlaw matches here and there. Just getting behind the gun whenever I could. That's really about it. Other than that, day to day, U.S. Navy. Dad. That's really it.
Man, you're killing the questions. That's awesome. So what got you into shooting to begin with?
So growing up, my dad was a police officer, so I've always had kind of an interest and a background in knowing about firearms and things like that. Then took an interest in airsoft and paintball when I was younger. And then, as time went on, I got more and more into guns. And then finally, a good buddy of mine, shout out to Jackson Brawler, he brought me to my first match up in DC, and that's where it all kind of snowballed effect into what I am now.
Yeah, I've made the joke a few times that cocaine and heroin are kind of addicting, but not exactly like shooting, and both of those are cheaper, but at least we're still better for your health. So you primarily shoot USPSA?
Yep. I was going to dabble into 3-gun, but never really got into it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's expensive, especially the rifle ammo right now. It's almost $1 a shot every time I pull out my practice rifle because I'm going to multi-gun nationals in a couple of weeks. And it's like, should I practice or should I just chance it? I better zero the rifle at least. So what all divisions do you have you shot and do you shoot in USPSA?
So started out production. Shot 3 or 4 matches with that, and then I jumped into carry optics, which I ran that all the way up until this last start of this year. And then I hopped back and forth into single stack for a little bit, and then now I jumped into PCC.
That's kind of all over the place. Single stacks is a whole. I used to love shooting the single stack classic because it was just a whole lot of pain. Like you could not miss. Everything was set up with 8-round arrays. And it was pretty much make your shots or stand there and reload.
Yep. Constantly counting 1 through 8.
Yeah, exactly. They will definitely teach you how to count very quickly. PCC, I have dabbled in a little bit. I used to shoot PCC some with 3-gun when I had a SIG MPX. And it's a lot of fun to never worry about running out of ammo.
Yep.
Sometimes you do still run out of ammo, though. You would think 60 rounds is enough to finish a 35-round field course. Not so much sometimes. So with that, or what are you planning to shoot this year? Are you going to be a PCC shooter for 2022, or are you going to dabble around with a few other things?
So that is very iffy for the time being right now. Being active duty Navy, I'm actually on the hook to move to Hawaii soon. So pistol mags capped at 10 kind of cuts me down to what I could be competitive in at least. But with PCC,
you're competitive with everything. Everybody else has 10 rounds too.
That is true. That is true.
Or California. Yeah, I forgot about Hawaii being another one of those states. I think there are like 3 or 4 IPSC or Steel Challenge clubs in Hawaii. I'm like, yeah, I look at how. Excuse me.
Oh, yeah, just depending on which island you go to, yeah.
Yeah, I looked around and I'm like, the size and population of this, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, especially with their firearms laws down there. So how long have you been sponsored by Red Hill Tactical?
I think they first picked me up in 2019 when I first got to the Norfolk area. And then ever since then, I've been shooting with them.
Cool. How did you find us?
So I believe I found you guys through Jackson also. because when I was up in DC, I actually went up to a machine gun nest and I shot an outlaw match. And that's actually where I met Rob and Scott Jedlinski and got humbled very quickly.
Yeah, the machine gun nest is it's a very interesting little indoor range and match that they have up there. I've shot it a time or two, but it's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your goals in competitive shooting? I know you're a new father, you like to play with cars and stuff, and of course you have a career. So what are your goals in shooting?
Really, I'd like to dabble in everything just so, I can give my opinion across the whole sport as a whole. But mainly I'd like to get a classification in everything, including revolver. It's probably going to be the hardest one that I can come across. But other than that, just have good fun, meet good people, promote everybody that I can. That's really it.
So I got massively excited last night. So I do have a classification in USPSA and revolver because in like 2004, I owned a revolver. That was good for this. Yeah, it was a Smith & Wesson model 610. So it was and I could put 40 cal in it with the moon clips. And then I owned a couple 625s after that. I had a 5-inch gun. IDPA outlawed it. I didn't want to rebarrel it. So I kind of sold it and just sort of gave up on that. But last night, one of my local friends, JD, actually sent me a post of a 627. And I look at it, I'm like, what's this? He's like, I bought it. And I'm like, and this guy shoots almost all my matches. We travel together, shoot together. And I'm like, awesome. I have a revolver I can show me. That's great for you, Jeff. Which holster are you getting? So yeah, I tend to love all the divisions also. That's my problem. And honestly, my love of all the divisions, I think kept me in B class a lot longer than what I would, because man, I'd almost get to A class and then would have a couple month break in the wintertime. And I'm like, ooh, there's a new gun. I have almost enough parts to build an open gun. And I'll tell you, I was almost a master class in production, and then I went to open and I was the world's worst B class shooter. So, there is a lot of difference in that. So who else are you sponsored by?
So one of my other primaries would be AimCam Official, which is the shooting glasses that I wear. Then other than that, I have some like subsidy ones where it's not really a sponsor, but I heavily promote them. It'd be through, like Gray Guns, Springer Precision, Shooters World Powder, basically everyone else that supports the companies that support me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right behind them too.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way I am. And if I go out there and I see some, I'm going to buy a PCC or something, or whatever the gun is, and those guys are supporting one of the sports that I shoot, which I shoot USPSA, multi-gun, Steel Challenge, and some IDPA. But if they're actually out there supporting matches, sending people to the matches, I'm more likely to look at that gun and get one of those also.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's, of course, as you know, I've been kind of with the Gray Guns family for a few years, so I find the shooting industry is very, very tight knit, and there's a lot of really, really cool people in it. So what would you change about the shooting sports if you could change something? Of course, mainly you shoot USPSA, so it would be you wouldn't really care too much about some of the other rules.
Being that I've only been in USPSA, I can't really talk too much about the other sides of the house. But for the USPSA aspect of it, really, of course, after you get into it, you do realize more and more of the rule set and figuring out where you fit, when you fit, things like that when it comes to specific guns. But having kind of a more, like, I hate to say clear-cut rule set, but kind of having a more clear-cut rule set and knowing, what can be run when, what specifically puts you into open class. Say you pick up a mag, you fumble it, and you stuff it in your front pocket. Congratulations, now you're in open.
Not anymore.
Things like that.
You can actually do that now. You can stow mags in the pockets, and we've gotten rid of the. When I say we, I didn't have anything to do with it, but I mean the sport in general. Everything doesn't have to be behind the hip bones anymore.
Oh, actually, that is correct.
Yeah. My biggest thing with all the sports and stuff is just being more concise and clear and transparent. And I think that would be, one of the biggest things of the next few years is just being, keep it simple. That's the idea behind it. It's not getting too many things to think about it and making it very simple. Have you ever taken an RO class?
Not an official one. So I've
Okay.
been side saddle with my local USPSA spot, but local USPSA spots, basically them understanding you going through basically so everyone in the match understands the rules and regulations that are set forth that all the ROs need to abide by.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's one of the things that I took early on, and I've caught some heat for this because I didn't really want to be an RO when I took the RO class, nor did I want to be an RO the year or two after that. I just wanted to learn more about the rules, what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, what process I should go through if I didn't like the way a score was called or something like that. So I got my first RO certification, and I wasn't certified for a while. When I started wanting to work matches, then they'll take people that want to work even if they don't have the certification. You've had the class. Here's a timer. Get to work.
Yeah.
So then I just recently took that again here about 2 weeks ago, and it's been pretty awesome having seen how things have been updated and the way we're seem to be changing to be more positive in our sport. So are you planning on, of course, I know you got a possible move or a planned move to Hawaii. Have you planned on any upcoming major matches?
So my move is actually the beginning of April, which puts me, it puts me right before Area 6, which is the closest one for me. And I was going to try to get down there, but seeing as where I'm going to be, it's not likely going to happen.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to miss Area 6 too because of I'll just throw this out there. There's only a certain amount of time we can spend away from our family before it's why aren't you there?
Yep,
and I'm
absolutely.
I'm working multi-gun nationals, the World Speed Shooting Championship. I will be there. I'm not sure if I'm working it yet or not. And I will be at the Buckeye Blast. There's another major that's in there somewhere. That's at the end of April. So I'm going to be bouncing all over the place. So I don't think Area 6 is going to be in my cards. I'll tell you if you might be able to make Area 2 because I think that's usually in like November-ish. And that's out. It's in Arizona. So it's still a little bit of a, flight, but that's very interesting. I'll have to check and see what major matches they have in Hawaii. We should do some of those. I could throw in a great family vacation with that, right?
Yeah, I got the spot ready for you.
There we go. So my other question, I've got a few other questions. One of them is, what would you like to see out of a USPSA president? Since I'm obviously running and I like to get everybody's opinion about everything. Not that I'm going to poll everybody on everything, but.
Well, obviously shooter to shooter, what everyone sees in the day-to-day, and what is going good and what is going bad. So obviously you're going to have more of, let's say, a mindset to see and to think of what you could improve. But coming from my perspective, I personally haven't run into any bigger issues that, let's just say, have happened in our community. So I can't really say what would be good and bad. I'd say just keep an open mindset to change and also actually think about the positives that some change could
Yeah.
come, and also the negatives of some change that could come. Yeah.
I actually have a list of questions. Of course, I think you've seen some of the recent internet hoopla about open carry optics, limited optics, whatever they want to carry, and I've had a whole bunch of interesting questions like what's it going to hurt, what's it going to do, this that. Um, I tend to see things that if it comes up this year, it's probably going to come up next year when it will be something that I am required to deal with. And the sad thing is I see both parts of most of this stuff, and I'm still going to be shooting my P320 because I can't afford a $6,000 Akai or any of those other 2011s, and I'm don't feel that it's that much more competitive. But it's been very interesting with that, and just seeing how many people are strongly opinionated, and many of them which don't even shoot those divisions. But I'm pretty open to just about any good suggestions moving USPSA along. I heard you say you talked about airsoft some. What types of stuff did you guys shoot in airsoft? Was it like force on force type of stuff, or?
Mainly so. Back in Indiana, where I'm from, we had a paintball field. Shameless plug: White River Paintball, Anderson, Indiana. If you're in Indiana, go check them out. It's a great field. But they also had airsoft there, and it was more of a force on force kind of blue team, red team thing. Some like big scenario games where you have 100, 200, one versus 100, 200,
wow,
things like that. Yeah, pretty big fields, lots of fun. It's just I slowly moved out of the mil sim portion of airsoft, and then got more into paintball, and then into speedball, and then into X ball, and then that just converted over to actual USPSA.
Well, there's been a few things that a few of us have talked about. You know that IPSC actually has a airsoft version.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
I think it's cool when it comes for places that having a firearm is super hard or straight illegal. That is a great way of still promoting our sport, having people be able to take part in it and having fun. If that was an option that I had to take, I would 100% still be into it because I enjoy it this much.
I look at it, of course, I'm from West Virginia. So basically, most of our ranges here shut down from November to April. And while I own my own range, I'll tell you that it's not really a great time to be having matches and be out there because you're playing in the mud and you're freezing. There's a Facebook picture of me somewhere that got one of my joking nicknames was Yukon Cornelius because I was dressed up and, of course, had a big Blue Bullets jersey on and, had a toboggan that was sliding off, frozen half to death, wearing a bulletproof vest for warmth. And walking back from the 3-gun stage, like with my hands froze to my guns. But it's one of those things like 3 days before that, we have 9 inches of snow today. And yesterday it was 60 degrees and I was in my t-shirt. And I kind of saw this coming and I'm like, look, no matter what's going to happen, I had planned on having a match because it's second Saturday. And then I looked at the weather for the larger area last weekend and I'm like, it would be a really bad idea, I feel. So that panned out this time. Other times I end up standing out there on the range wishing my friends were there to shoot with me. So I think the paintball, or excuse me, not paintball, but the paintballs has put a lot of people. We've had the paintball thing go through West Virginia. It seems like it sometimes hits in highs and lows, and they brought in airsoft when they did. And now, of course, everybody's got those guns set in their closet. And I think around malls and stuff, and a few guys have actually pulled this off pretty well. I mean, we got people throwing axes in malls, so maybe it's time to put some Steel Challenge in the mall.
That is a good idea. I mean, my local mall has has a airsoft spot where it's you like shoot all the targets, and it's like 1-2 inch at
Wow.
15, 20 yards, 50 round mag, go at it. If you get them all down, you get a prize. So
That's awesome. So where's your local mall at?
So that is MacArthur Center at Norfolk, Virginia. There is a little airsoft spot in there. Can't remember exactly what it's called, but I've looked at it a couple of times.
Find myself over there for something else, we can be in the mall and I'll just disappear.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
Go check out the shoes. There's guns over here. I've actually done that to my poor fiance a number of times. I went to an annual meeting with her and disappeared because I found a trap range. Where have you been all day? And I'm like, just across the road over there.
What are you talking about?
Clays. And she's like,
why are you covered in gun shards?
Exactly. I'm just so bored waiting for you. But yeah, that's something I think is really cool. The paintball sports have, well, I'm sure as you know much better than I have, they've exploded in a lot of areas. I actually used to play with some of the airsoft some too, because I was a martial arts instructor for a number of years. So everybody wanted to say, well, you can't do this, you have to do that. And the long list of stuff that we should be doing, like during firearm disarms, which is the last thing on earth you should be doing if someone's pointing a gun at you. But sometimes it's better than being shot. The airsoft really put a realism aspect into that without actually injuring you any more than just the smallest thing. But I actually Googled some of the airsoft guns, and they have just as crazy of people doing airsoft stuff as we do. I mean, they have Limcat custom open guns. I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive. So is there anything else that you would like to add for other people out there shooting, thinking about getting into shooting or anything like that?
Yeah, so all of the people that I've come across in the shooting sports have been welcoming and with open arms 100%. So if you have a question about what you can and can't do, or what you can bring, what you can shoot, like division or not, one of the things that we say is run what you brung, and bring what you think you'd like to compete with. We'll put you in the respective division, what you need to be. And every match we always ask first time shooters, if you want to go last, if you want to go first, just let us know. And, we cater to new shooters because we definitely need to continually bring our sport to the limelight.
Absolutely. I've had, I do a lot of internet stuff whenever I don't have time to get out and actually play. I see so many people post on Reddit, Facebook, hey, I'm thinking about going out to my new match. What do I need to know? I'm like, just go, show up and say, hey, I'd like to learn about this. And people will fall all over themselves. And it's bad. And I shouldn't say bad. It's a great thing. But you think people want you to do that in USPSA, you should see multi-gun. They'll throw $30,000 worth of firearms at you and say, hey, go toss this in the barrel over there. I'm like, I'm sorry. Put it down. So it can be it can be intimidating to some people getting started, but I always tell people try it before you buy it because it's an expensive hobby to get into. I'd definitely like to thank you for coming on. You've always been one of our more vocal supporters, and we always appreciate that from everybody. Is there any? Okay, I know you have a Red Hill Tactical sponsor code. So what's that one?
So that is GMIV 10 2020. Last time I checked.
Wow, that's a lot of numbers. Oh,
we're in the process of changing them up.
Yeah, well, if we wanted to simplify it, I'm sure we can do that. So it's GMIV 10 2020.
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure it is, but I will. I'll check with the back office and make sure that we have it in the show notes and stuff, and it'll pop up on there as something different if it is anything different. Any closing comments you'd like to make?
Get out to your match, shoot, have fun. If you need ammo, still kind of hard. I know some people are, but some people are more than happy to help if that's your hurdle. Don't let the time being hold you back.
Yeah, and if you can't find it, man, just ask somebody, because we have a Sportsman's Warehouse, a Dunham's, few local shops. Walmart's been really pushy around here. They've actually stopped carrying everything but like 308 and 350 Legend. Then those guys, the rest of those guys and all the online places seem to have 9mm in stock. It's still stupidly high priced, almost 40 cents a round, but it's out there and it's available. So we're just waiting. I think the rest of the world's just waiting for primers to come back in stock. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on. If there's anything anybody else wants to ask you, how can they contact you?
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram. My Facebook is just Garland Ivy, just typical name. I actually have 2 Instagrams. My first one, it's starting to be more of a personal one, just me and my life. It's Garland __IVY. And then my second one, which I'm trying to promote more, or trying to push more towards my USPSA and my guns and my outdoor stuff, is going to be Bass, Brass, and Gas. And it is separated by periods.
That is awesome.
But yet again, you can find all of that on my Facebook, which is the easiest way to find me.
That's great. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up here. If anybody has any questions for Ivy, you know how to get him there. And if you can't find him there, shoot me a message and I will definitely put you in contact with him.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next one.
All right. Catch you later.